Hi, everybody. Welcome back for day 2 of the final journey of London's Dead. From English for You, I'm Kat.
I'm Elsie.
And yeah, we talked a lot yesterday about an interesting thing that happened in England's history.
Yes.
What was that?
There was a company named the LNC.
Yeah.
The company wanted to have more money.
Yeah.
So they bought a big piece of land in Brookwood.
Yes. So Brookwood was this town outside of London. And I think the LNC was formed because there were too many people dying in London and no place to put their bodies.
That was the problem.
That was the problem, yeah. And so they came up with a solution.
But did they actually solve the problem?
They kind of did because there was more space for London's dead to be buried because they were out in the countryside.
But there were not enough people dying.
Yeah, so then it became a problem for them because
for the company.
They weren't making money. So, and eventually, World War II happened and the company eventually went bankrupt because their main train station was bombed.
Right.
Yeah. I heard you can actually find a different train station that they used to own that's still in London.
Really?
Yeah, so I think we're actually going to learn about what happened to this cemetery that they bought and started filling with people, dead bodies.
Who were buried there.
Exactly, yeah. So there's a lot of people buried there. It's a huge cemetery. But we are going to talk about some of that and basically what was going on during that period when the LNC was operating, and maybe even a little bit after that. So let's go to the article and find out a little bit more.
Reading.
The Final Journey of London's Dead. Although the LNC was less successful than it had hoped, some famous people were buried at its Brookwood Cemetery. These funerals were huge events. When the politician Charles Bradlaugh died in 1891, thousands of people, including Mahatma Gandhi, attended his burial. Brookwood was also popular with actors, as LNC trains ran on Sundays when theaters were closed. Many kinds of people are buried at Brookwood. The LNC served people of all religions, which was unusual for England at that time. However, not everyone was treated equally. A first-class funeral included a large piece of land anywhere in the cemetery. There was also the option of putting up a statue to remember the dead. On the other hand, people who had third-class funerals were buried in small plots right next to each other. Train tickets were cheap, though. Some people took advantage of this to visit Brookwood's golf course cheaply by pretending to go to funerals. Although the LNC is long gone, Brookwood Cemetery remains in use today. It's still the largest cemetery in the UK.
All right, so we start off today still talking about the LNC. Although the LNC was less successful than it had hoped, some famous people were buried at its Brookwood Cemetery.
今天文章开头呢，告诉我们，虽然 The LNC 没有希望当中的成功，但是很多名人被葬在这个 Brookwood 墓园里头。I wonder who they were.
Well, we're going to find out a little bit, but first of all, we have to know these funerals were huge events. Because, these famous people, if they die and, a lot of people in town know them, they probably are going to go to their funeral and pay their respects.
Right. 所以这些葬礼呢，都是当时的 huge events, 也就是大事件。
So, for example, when the politician Charles Bradlaugh died in 1891, thousands of people, including Mahatma Gandhi, attended his burial.
Wow.
Yeah. So, thousands of. Usually that means more than 1,000 or usually more than 2,000 because if you have thousands, it's thousand plural. So more than 2,000 people, at least.
Thousands of 它代表的是数以千计的，那如果我们把单位下降一点，如果是 hundreds of 那就数以百计的，那把单位往上提一些 millions of 那就是数以百万计的。 What about the word attend?
Well, if you talk about attending a burial or attending a funeral, that's a verb that means go to an event that is already planned. So things that you attend are usually things like parties, weddings where people get married, funerals where people are buried, or attending your graduation ceremony when you finish school, or even something daily like attending class. Now, when you attend class, your teacher might take the noun version of this verb, which is attendance. So taking attendance means seeing who is there. And if you are a person who is attending something, you are called an attendee. So an example sentence for this might be, around 200 people attended my sister's wedding last week.
Attend 这个动词呢，就是参加、出席。那我们在这个句子里面还看到了一个字叫做 burial， 它是个名词，代表埋葬、土葬。那它的动词形式其实同学们都看到了，就是 bury, B-U-R-Y。 那我们这边说到，当政治家 Charles 他在1981年去世的时候，数以千计的人，包括甘地，都来参加他的葬礼。So there were politicians buried there. Who else?Well,
Brookwood was also popular with actors, living actors, mind you, people who were going to the funerals, as LNC trains ran on Sundays when theaters were closed. Oh, so it's kind of like their day off activity. Interesting. So theater here means like a place where plays, movies, and concerts and other kinds of shows are put on. So an actor, of course, would work at a theater. So parts of a theater you might have are, of course, the stage. That's where all the actors or the performers are doing their thing. You have the audience seating, which is where you get to watch the show. Of course, behind the stage, you have something called the backstage, which is where everybody can go when they are not on the stage, and so on and so on. You might have other parts of the theater. Basically, it's just the perfect place to put on a show.So an example sentence might be, we went to the theater on our date and saw a funny play by Shakespeare.
Theater 这个字呢是剧院或剧场，那它这个是美式的拼音，字尾是 ter 结尾的。如果你看到字尾是 tre 结尾，它也念作 theater，不过呢它是英式的拼法。那同学们都很熟悉的电影院就叫做 movie theaters。那因为 LNC 的火车啊，它周日是有班次的，演员这一天也不用上班，所以很多演员也被葬在 Brookwood， 这样子还是活着的演员就可以过去参加他们的葬礼。
Okay. So apparently, yeah, a lot of people like to go to this cemetery because it was a good day off. So many kinds of people are buried at Brookwood, not just politicians.
And not just the actors.
Yeah, of course, not just actors.
很多不一样的人都被葬在 Brookwood.Okay,
the LNC served people of all religions, which was unusual for England at that time. Yeah, definitely.
Religion 是宗教，那这边是 all religions， 各种不同全部的宗教，他们都是服务的。所以呢，对当时的来说 it was unusual for England.Yeah,
definitely. So unusual is an adjective that means it's not normal. It's not what most people are doing. Kind of strange. People might look at it and go, that's different. Now, the reason this was unusual in England for all religions to be served by this company is because mostly Protestant Christians were the ones who were served by funeral companies at that time, or organizations that did things that were like ceremonies or religious, things. So, yeah, it was only one group of people had most of the power. But it seems like they buried people from all different religions. So, yeah, it was unusual. Also, you could say it was out of the ordinary. So an example for this might be Sam made a sauce for his pork chops out of some unusual ingredients, including Coca-Cola.Unusual 这个形容词代表不寻常的，那如果你把字首的 un 遮掉的话，你会看到 usual， 那就是形容词正常的。所以这边说到呢，这样的服务，也就是服务各种宗教的这个状况，在当时的英格兰是不寻常的。It was very unusual. Yeah. And that was kind of a good thing, though. However, not everyone was treated equally. Of course not. Yeah, so equally here is an adverb that means treating people the same. And you're not favoring one person over another. You're not treating one person better than another. You're making sure everyone can do the same things or they get the same kind of benefits. So there's a phrase that they often use, especially Americans, I think, use this a lot. All men are created equal, which means they're all created in the same way and they should all be given the same rights. Now, equal is an adjective. So, an example sentence might be, Angie cut the cake and shared it with her friends equally, so everyone got one piece.
Equally 这个副词是平等的，那如果你把字尾的 ly 拿掉，你会看到 equal 这个形容词平等的。所以刚刚 Kat 说到的 all men are created equal 就是每个人生而平等。那回到文章呢，不是每个人在这边都是被平等对待的哦。There were even different classes of funerals.
So it was unequal treatment. So a first-class funeral included a large piece of land anywhere in the cemetery. So wherever you wanted to be buried before you died, you could say, I want my grave to be there, and I want this, and I want this, and I want this much land, and that's what you're going to give me because I'm paying you a lot of money. Yep.
所以这个叫做 a first class funeral 头等的葬礼，它包含墓园里面任何一大块的土地你都可以选。Because you have a lot of money.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. There was also the option of putting up a statue to remember the dead.
Wow.
Very nice.
Option 选项，所以这是你可以选择要或不要的。They could choose if they wanted to put up a statue to remember the dead. What is a statue?
Well, a statue is a piece of art that is 3D. It's made of hard materials, usually rock or metal or something like that. Usually, like the metal would be bronze. So a statue, the difference between a statue and a sculpture is that a statue shows a human kind of subject. So it shows a human person. If you have a non-human sculpture, it's just a sculpture. Now, statues are kinds of sculptures too, but statues are always human. Or I guess they could be animals. So you could have, let me see, what would be common statues in cemeteries? Angels, saints, the spirit of death, or even a statue of the person who died. So an example sentence might be, Michelangelo's most famous statue is the statue of David, which is now in a museum in Florence.
Statue 这个字呢，就是叫雕像啦。那我们最熟悉的应该就是 The Statue of Liberty， 也就是美国纽约的自由女神像。那回到文章来呢，我们说到啊，人们是可以选择要不要来设立雕像来纪念死者的。So this sounds like an option for the rich people. What about people who couldn't afford that much?
Well, on the other hand, people who had third-class funerals were buried in small plots right next to each other. That's too bad. So on the other hand, here is a phrase that we use pretty often. Often we'll say on one hand first and then on the other hand second. So on the other hand shows a contrast between fact A and fact B. So usually on one hand, A is positive while on the other hand, B is negative. Or they have opposite points. So A would be first-class burials had statues and big graves. On the other hand, third-class burials had tiny graves and no statues.
所以呢 on one hand 跟 on the other hand 通常会搭配使用，一个代表一方面，另外一个代表另一方面。那这边还看到了 plot 这个字，在这边当做的是建筑用的小块土地。所以说呢，如果你是选择第三级葬礼的人，死者会被葬在小块的土地里，而且彼此是相邻的，没有太多的空间。那这边我们还看到了英文练功房里面我们要说到的是 people or those 为先行词的关系子句。那你会看到 those 或 people 出来之后，后面加上的关系代名词是 who。接下来因为前面是复数的人，所以接下来要加上的是复数的动词哦。那在这个句型当中呢， 我们刚刚说到 who 是关系代名词，引导关系子句以修饰前面的名词 those 或是 people， 表示凡是怎么样的人，或是那些怎么样的人。For example, God helps those who help themselves， 也就是天助自助者。这边你会看到 those 这个先行词，后面搭配的是关系代名词 who， 那整个形容词子句是 who help themselves。那再来一个例句哦 People who were born under the Pisces sign are usually romantic。双鱼座的人呢，通常是浪漫的。那这边你看到先行词 people， 看到关系代名词 who， 看到这个形容词子句就是从 who 开始，一直到 Pisces sign 结束。
So are you a Pisces?
Yes, I am, but I'm not romantic.
Really? Okay. They say that people who are Aquarius, like me, are usually crazy and emotional, but
Do you think so?
I could be emotional, but I'm not crazy. All right.
Okay, back to the article.
Okay.
There were different classes of funerals, but could the poor even afford the train tickets? That is my question.
I guess they probably could because the article says train tickets were cheap, though.
Oh, 还好。
That's good.
火车票是便宜的。Okay.
Yeah, maybe that's why they weren't making money. All right, but some people took advantage of this to visit Brookwood's golf course cheaply by pretending to go to funerals. Oh no, my grandma died. I can't find her, but she definitely died. So they took advantage of it. If you take advantage of something, it means you're using a service that is available to do something, and you're doing something that it's not intended for. Or if you do this to a person, you're taking advantage of a person. So an example of that might be you go to the grocery store, you buy a lot of groceries in your cart, and you use a lot of coupons that you saved over a long time to get your groceries basically free. That's taking advantage of that system.
Advantage 它是优势或好处， disadvantage 它是劣势或是坏处。那这边我们看到的搭配字是 take advantage of somebody or something， 代表你是利用某人某物去达成你的目的。那文章说到呢，有些人会利用这样便宜的火车票去 Brookwood's golf course， 就是高尔夫球场。But why could they get on the train? They pretended to go to funerals.
Not very nice. So pretend here is a verb that means that you act like something is true when you know it's not. It could be lying, or it could be like changing your reality. It could also be playing, though. So for example, like Pink's song, Can We Pretend? That's a very popular song these days.
I love Pink.
Yeah, I love Pink too. Is about pretending their relationship is wonderful when actually things are not going very well. Kids often play pretend by acting like maybe grown-ups like princesses or ninjas or doctors or moms and dads. But pretending to go to funerals, saying like, oh no, my relative died, but actually nobody died, is not a very nice thing to do. It's taking advantage of the situation. So an example might be Jo and her sisters pretended they were knights on a mission to save a princess and that their house was a giant castle. That's playing pretend.
Pretend 这个动词呢是伪装或是假装 Pretend to do something 那就是假装去做某件事情。所以这边他们假装他们要去 funerals They pretended to go to funerals Which was really bad.
Yeah, but I guess, they probably got caught sometimes and maybe not other times. But anyway, the LNC is not around anymore. The trains are not running anymore. But although the LNC is long gone, Brookwood Cemetery remains in use today. It's still the largest cemetery in the UK. Interesting. So it's still in use means people still use it. So people still bury their relatives there. People still attend funerals there. Now, if it's not being used anymore, we say it's out of use.
In use 正常使用 out of use 不再使用所以这边最后文章说到虽然 the LNC 已经不存在了但是 Brookwood 墓园还是照常使用哦而且它也还是英国最大的墓园 I wonder who takes the money now
Well, probably the government, I would guess.
Probably.
It's probably publicly owned.
Yeah.
But anyway, that is the end of our article. If you would like to check out more about Brookwood Cemetery or even see one of the London Acropolis Company stations in London, you can check that out on Google or even travel there and take a look. It's pretty cool. Now we are done with our article, so we're going to go to our For You chat.
For You chat.
Okay, so our For You chat question for today is, how would you like to be remembered after you die, Kat?
That's a very deep question. That's not something you think of often because most people don't think about dying, I guess. But after I die, I'd like people to remember me as maybe a kind person, really energetic person, somebody who lived her life without regrets and without letting any opportunities go. So somebody who had a very adventurous life. That's what I'd like.
For me, I would like to be remembered as a kind person like you. And also, I want them to remember that I brought maybe a little bit laughter, light, help.
Yeah, for sure.
And generosity to the world.
That's lovely. I think that's a great thing to want to be remembered for. Yeah, for sure. Okay, now this is something you guys can think of too. Maybe your answers be the same. Maybe they'll be totally different. Maybe you're thinking like, I'd like to be remembered to be a great president or something like that.
And a big hero.
Yeah, if you have big ambitions, this could be interesting questions for you. Now we're going to sign off and we will talk to you next time.
Talk to you soon.
Bye-bye.
The Final Journey of London's Dead. Although the LNC was less successful than it had hoped, some famous people were buried at its Brookwood Cemetery. These funerals were huge events. When the politician Charles Bradlaugh died in 1891, thousands of people, including Mahatma Gandhi, attended his burial. Brookwood was also popular with actors, as LNC trains ran on Sundays when theaters were closed. Many kinds of people are buried at Brookwood. The LNC served people of all religions, which was unusual for England at that time. However, not everyone was treated equally. A first-class funeral included a large piece of land anywhere in the cemetery. There was also the option of putting up a statue to remember the dead. On the other hand, people who had third-class funerals were buried in small plots right next to each other. Train tickets were cheap, though. Some people took advantage of this to visit Brookwood's golf course cheaply by pretending to go to funerals. Although the LNC is long gone, Brookwood Cemetery remains in use today. It's still the largest cemetery in the UK.
Vocabulary Review. Attend. Many people attended a political event in the center of Taipei last weekend. Theater. The actors were pleased when they saw that the theater was packed with people waiting to see their play. Unusual. In Japan, trains are almost always on time, and it is highly unusual for them to be late. Equally. Janice cut the pizza into 8 pieces and shared the pieces equally among the 4 people. Statue. A statue of this country's first king was placed outside its royal palace. Pretend. Trish pretended to listen during the meeting, but she was really thinking about what to have for lunch.
智慧小补帖
Burial, option, plot.
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作，活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000 02-2364-4000，或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net www.english4u.net